Look at a major city from above, and then look at an ant colony. We usually view human civilization as an escape from nature, but to the cold logic of physics, these two structures are performing the same function. They are both symbionts, bounded collectives where individual agents are locked together to operate as a single lifelike whole. But existing as a single whole comes with a strict physical tax. We call this the cost of cohesion, the raw thermodynamic energy required to keep all those independent parts talking, moving, and working together. As a group grows, the number of potential connections between members rises at an accelerating rate. The energy required to keep everyone synchronized climbs toward a metabolic breaking point. This creates a biological mystery. Because of this scaling tax, a troop of chimpanzees hits a hard limit at around 100 members. Yet human societies coordinate billions. Somewhere in our history, we found a way to bypass a universal physical law. To find the breakthrough, we have to look at the earlier rungs of coordination. At the lower end of the scale, eusocial insects manage millions of bodies using only chemistry. A leafcutter colony maintains fungal gardens and manages waste streams entirely through chemical signals. No individual ant understands the whole system, yet the colony behaves as a single adaptive organism. But chemical networks lack symbolic depth. Their rules are rigid. If the environment shifts too fast, the chemical signals lose their meaning, the coordination fails, and the system fractures. Mammals evolved a more flexible method. Chimpanzees and baboons coordinate through an embodied network, using direct physical contact to build trust and hierarchy. This creates a bottleneck. Maintaining social bonds through grooming takes hours of manual labor every day. In a primate troop, coherence is metabolically expensive because trust must be renewed face to face. This chart shows the mathematical wall. As the group size grows, the time required for grooming shoots up until it consumes every liking hour. Primate societies cannot afford the metabolic cost of cohesion beyond about 100 members. They are trapped by their own bodies. They cannot scale because they have no way to maintain trust outside of direct physical interaction. Dolphins and whales move toward a solution by using unique acoustic signatures, vocal names that allow them to maintain social memory over vast physical distances. Early humans hit the same grooming bottleneck as other primates, but we developed a radical biological workaround. We invented symbolic compression. We took the physical labor of social alignment and compressed it into rituals, myths, and language. Painting on cave walls or sharing a ritual created a form of external storage for coordination. These symbols allowed early bands to remember their shared identity without needing to spend every hour grooming one another. Over thousands of years, these shared patterns hardened into formal institutions. When we follow a written law or trade a dollar bill, we are using a compressed symbolic signal to coordinate with strangers, performing the same social alignment that once required hours of physical contact. Symbols allowed us to shatter the biological scaling ceiling. We don't need to physically touch our neighbors to cooperate. We only need to trust the same symbolic framework. But human civilization did not escape the laws of biology. We simply used symbolic abstraction to extend our reach. This reliance on symbols creates a new vulnerability. Because our coordination is based on abstract ideas rather than physical reality, the two can begin to drift apart. Every human society runs on two gears. The fast loop is the material reality, the food, the energy, and the physical labor. The slow loop is the symbolic realm, the laws, the finance, and the institutions. Success depends on these gears staying coupled. But institutions often fall into over-abstraction. They become fixated on symbolic metrics and procedural bureaucracy, while the material reality on the ground begins to suffer from rising friction. This is the scissors effect. When the symbolic loop stops tracking the material terrain, the system loses its ability to manage its own entropy. The coordination breaks down, and the Cybond fractures. This is a physical law, not a political one. It describes the same breakdown whether it happens to a dying corporation or a drought-stricken ant colony. In late-stage Rome, the institutional slow loop became fixated on complex bureaucracy and symbolic debt management, even as the material fast loop, the actual borders and supply chains, succumbed to physical friction. The ruins of the Forum show us what happens when the symbolic map stops matching the terrain. Beneath our global trade networks, our laws, and our technology, we are still a biological system, and no society can cheat the thermodynamic physics of coordination forever.